Sky Squad, top of the morning. It's your morning host, DJ Richie Skye, back in the building. Y'all like how that sound? I feel like I should be on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I need. Am I manifesting radio right now? Am I manifesting radio with Richie with the T in the mornings or something like that? No, that's Gary's thing. So I got to come up with something different. But shout out to Gary with the T. But I feel like I should be on like the Dish Nation or something in the mornings. Y'all feel me? Because I'm a morning guy. You know what I mean? So I like to get all my stuff done in the morning. I like my hot tea early in the morning. I don't like it late at night, which is why y'all ain't get no video from me last night, because I was down to the event. Now I had went to go see the Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. Okay. That's coming out on Netflix on July the 3rd. Now, I went to a little screening, so I can't really say too much about it other than you should see it. That's all I can really say. I laughed. It's Eddie Murphy. You're going to laugh. You're going to do your thing. That's really, I can't say no more than that. Okay? That's all I can say, because there's a review embargo, so I can't give y'all no more tea. But when I got home, as soon as I got out of the theater, the first thing that I see, y'all, is, listen, Kenya Moore is gone with the wind, y'all. Gone with the wind. Yes, Lexi, I got my coffee right here. I got it right here, baby, because I got to hit the gym after this. Okay, got to hit the gym after this. Get my little workout in so I can keep this body right for these trips. Y'all know. Oh, side note, y'all know. Let me tell y'all real quick. We going to Bali in September. We going to Thailand in March. So if you've never been to Thailand, type Thailand in the chat. Okay, type Thailand in the chat. March the 1st through the 7th. So if we're not able to go to Bali, you can come with us to Thailand. It's gonna be a good time, hot weather, good food. We got a lot of parties to go to in Thailand. I made sure that we on boat cruises and we doing all the parties in the Thailand. The trip will open up on Friday at 11 a.m. But I'll place the link here. The first 8 people to put your reservations down, you get a discount, just like we did last time. 4-star accommodations, all that good stuff. Anyway, with that yes, Thailand. Drop that Thailand down in the chat if you have never been to Thailand. Drop it in the chat. I see y'all. Yes, baby. Yes, we about to do the doggone thizzle. Now listen. When you decide to make your reservations, if you want a single room, pick the single room option. If you want a double room, that means that you are willing to stay with somebody else, okay? So if you have somebody that you want to go with, y'all make your reservations at the same time, or you put their name down. That's how that works, okay? And this will give you more time too. I know the Bali trip was kind of close for a lot of people. So this trip will give you more time to pay over time. You can pay still with a firm. A firm is usually a lower APR than your credit cards, usually. So you can pay over the course of a couple of months. And y'all, I just booked tickets to Tokyo in August for $160. Round trip tickets, Delta Comfort Plus, $160. Ain't no excuse. If you want to travel overseas, ain't no excuse for you not to be able to get on a flight, okay? $160 round trip to Tokyo in August. That's 2 months away. Actually, that's less than 2 months away at this point. So it's possible. Stop making excuses. If you want to go somewhere and your girlfriends don't want to go, your boyfriend don't want to go, come hang out with your internet boyfriend right here, okay? I'm just kidding. But, come hang out with me anyway. So anyway, let's get to it. Dominique, you're going to have to go, all right? I'm sorry, baby. But you can't come onto my channel telling me to shut up. So good night. Okay, good night. All right, so let's get back to it. For those of you guys who want to know how I'll book those tickets, I will do a video on my personal channel and I will put it in the community tab. Okay. Now I'm gonna get my housekeeping out the way, and we're gonna have a good time when I go live. If you don't like it, if you got a problem with having fun in the mornings, this ain't the place for you, and I get it. So that's why Dominique had to go. Dominique and Renee gone. Okay. Anyway, yes, it's possible. These people, you gotta let these people know. Come on, yeah, I'll be your internet bae. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'll be your internet bae. Listen. All right. Let's get into team. Listen, and I ain't been live in a minute, so I got to fraternize with my folks. Okay, like y'all, a lot of y'all been my fam since 2016. If you know, you know. So no, I'm gonna get on here and we gonna chop it up and chew for a little bit. I'll put the timestamp when we get down to the news when they go onto the regular version. But right now we're gonna have a good time. And unfortunately, we got to talk to y'all about Kenya more. Like last night, I really had to debate whether or not to do a video on it, but I was like, it's so late. So I was like, let's talk about it early because I really do want to check in with y'all to see. Because last night I put up a community post on my Instagram, on my YouTube, and I asked after the firing, will y'all still be watching this show? And I'm going to tell you right now what the results were in the community tab. A whopping 57% of you guys said that you were done with it. Okay. And 43% said, yep, you're still going to watch. So I don't know if you guys can see that right there. But my question is, what kind of show are we going to have? You know what I'm saying? What are we going to really have? And what does this mean? So let's break it on down. TMZ revealed that Kenya is not returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, the way the TMZ report makes it seem is as though it's a mutually agreed upon situation. Okay. Now, this is sort of verbatim what TMZ writes. They are told Kenya has not been fired from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Instead, both sides have agreed that she's going to take a break from the show for now. The sources tell TMZ that Bravo is keeping the door open for a future return. However, they're also told Kenya is considering legal options at this point because she's not happy with how the mess unfolded. Now, what are we talking about when she's not happy with how the mess unfolded? Well, remember first, we told you guys that it was alleged that Brittany had used the word pow pow in a conversation during one of their, heated exchanges. The exact quote that we had heard was, I have pow pows to handle or for bees like you. Now, Brittany has later come out and said that never happened. Sources close to production tell TMZ that this was investigated and they were told that it was never substantiated by the network. And these same sources say that there was never a pow pow present during filming. So then the next thing that we heard was that Kenya ended up displaying not safe for work posters of Britt at her hair spa grand opening while Brittany wasn't there. Bravo launched an investigation into this. And in the end, they're told that TMZ was told that Kenya's behavior was found to be in violation of their code of conduct. So let's also break down the code of conduct, right? What is the code of conduct at this point? That is something that is debatable for a lot of people. I was having some pretty heated discussions last night because we were talking in a group about what the line is for housewives, right? So one person said, well, how is it that you have these women on Jersey fighting and they showed that, right? And my argument back was, well, fighting has always seemed to be within the blurry line of the code of conduct for reality television or TV in general. When we think back to Jerry Springer, back when they were screaming, Jerry, 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 right? Remember those days? If you remember Jerry Springer, type Jerry Springer in the chat. Just type Jerry, Jerry, Jerry in the chat. Because I just want to see how many people are familiar with the type of television that I'm talking about, right? Because if you know, right? If you from that Jerry Springer era, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly, Kat. So y'all know what that was like. They was fighting on that TV screen, something fierce on that show. And that was a show that was, for all intents and purposes, it was hosted by a white man, right? So at the end of the day, you know, when we look at people fighting on television and the people in charge, I mean, the people that were fighting on television were of all shades and hues, but the person in charge on the face of that show was was definitely not a black person, right? Because they like to put it that black people like to fight. That's one of the things that I want to put out that I'm getting at, right? So we look at that. Jerry, exactly. Miss Carolina said it best. Jerry was the start of trash TV. Now, here's the thing. When we say that, we mean television with low-hanging fruit. That means people are fighting. And that was the general reason why we were watching that show. Is that not correct? Right. So we look exactly. I was scheduling classes around that thing too. Okay, so we know what that was. So we're used to seeing that at this point. Okay, so that is why, for me, my argument back was, well, fighting has always blurred the lines on different shows, but it seemed to me, and I'm gonna tell y'all the truth, VH1 kind of cooled it down a little bit after Jocelyn and Stevie J went ham on everybody at that Love and Hip Hop reunion. Y'all remember that? Let's go back. Let's take it all the way back. Okay, y'all remember that reunion where they went ham on the entire stage? Okay, they fought their way from the stage to the dressing rooms. Do y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Then we've seen it happen where, Teresa pushed Andy. Nothing was done about that. Teresa flips the table. Nothing done about that. Okay. We saw Sheree tug on Kim's wig. Perfectly fine. Okay. Even though that's technically a violation of space. All right. Then and now I've switched, okay, because I want to talk about Bravo. So I'm going to go back to Love and Hip Hop in a bit, but I want to go back. I want to go to Bravo now, and I'm talking to you guys about historical context for which we've seen what's okay for television and what is now not okay for television. Okay, we have seen. We saw Portia drag Kenya off the stage, literally by her hair. We have seen Cynthia and Portia get into the slap box where, Cynthia had to give her the karate chop to the tummy. Okay, we saw that. Carlos King had to tackle Portia down to the ground to keep her down. We have seen, at this point in time, we have seen Danielle Staub yank Margaret so far down by the ponytail. We saw Margaret push the husband in the pool. Okay. And just this week, we saw Jennifer Aiden, not for the first time, because this ain't the first time Jennifer Aiden has tried to rough up on somebody, right? We've seen her do that to Melissa. Have we not? We also saw, and technically throwing drinks at somebody. We saw Tamara throw a drink at somebody. We saw, we've seen Margaret throw a drink at Danielle. We have seen it all at this point in terms of physical contact. We saw what happened between Monique and Candace. We saw that. We didn't see now. What happened was, what was very interesting was, we didn't see the Deborah versus Kiana, because that happened when cameras went down, and they would have had to use that cell phone footage, but also all we could do was hear that audio, right? So I guess for me, I'm wondering, what is the code of ethics? What is the code? What is it, right? So that's one question, and that's one side of the argument, right? Mariah and Toya, they started Married to Medicine off fighting. Okay, if you really want to go back. Okay. Basketball Wives, they've cut up plenty of times. We saw good example, Wendy and Mia, right? Now, let's talk about this specific instance with Kenya and the muddy waters that we're entering right now, right? And I think, and I'm giving you guys two sides of the equation here, right? Two sides of the equation, and it's up to you really at this point to determine if you feel like this is right. Because I don't know. That's my thing. I don't know. Because number one, we didn't see what was there. It's unclear to us what happened. My belief is that she did probably show these photos. If it came out that whatever that the photo, if Bravo, if I cannot for any other reason fathom that Bravo would want to part ways with Kenya Moore, is other than she either showed something that was very close to what we've been hearing, or she did it. Okay. Now, if she did it, then that explains it right away, right? If she did it, that explains it right away. Because the network is currently facing lawsuits from Carolyn Manzo. We have stuff with Leah McSweeney. You know, the Carolyn Manzo stuff is dealing with stuff of an intimate nature as well. I say intimate only because that's the best way that I can put it on YouTube. I know it doesn't clearly explain exactly the context, but it's the best, this is the safest way that I can put it when we're talking about what's going on, right? So for me, you have to also look at Kenya Moore. To me, is smarter than this. Okay. Kenya Moore is at a space in the reality TV world where, yes, she has pushed buttons before. She has told the line, you know, what she came to the reunion with the scepter, pointing that scepter and using the megaphone, right? She's always been pushing buttons, you know, pulling back Kim Fields' chair. Okay. Remember that? Pulling back Kim Fields' chair. She's always told the line. She was really one of the major factors in outing what happened with the Bolo situation. So when we look back at Kenya Moore's history on the show, and let's not forget the Cookie Lady and Tanya, okay? The bringing the Cookie Lady and the way she handled Tanya was definitely, the punishment didn't fit the crime. It really didn't at that time. So the problem, again, like I say, with a person like Kenya is when you push the envelope, when you begin to push the envelope that far for the sake of either making good TV or getting back at someone, you got to have a line for yourself that you're not going to go to. That way you can avoid whatever this mysterious code of conduct is. So we got two things happening that make this whole situation very muddy. One, we have a very blurred line about what the code of conduct actually is at this state in time. Okay. That's number one, because it's okay to fight and it's okay to show that, right? But then you have the extra added mix of Kenya should know better. Period. She should. At the end of the day, Kenya Summer Moore is smarter than this. And I don't know why she thought that this would be a good idea if she did it, because we still don't know, because we still ain't seen the evidence. Okay. We'll probably never see the footage, and I don't even know what they'll do now. Okay. But Kenya writes this, hashtag Team Twirl forever. You are the best fans anyone could ever ask for, and I love you all so very much, always and forever. Now, I want to go back to something. Now, Kenya potentially, you know, seeking, you know, legal counsel or weighing legal options is definitely the smart play. Because if you continue on in the TMZ article, they say, despite this, we're told Kenya still feels wronged, with sources familiar with the situation saying her safety concerns are a huge part of the disconnect between her and the network right now. And they're just not seeing eye to eye. So two sides to this story, obviously, right? Because if, let's say for the sake of argument, Kenya believes that Britt meant her harm with whatever statement she made, even though the investigation found that there was no pow pow mentioned or even brought to the scene, then there's clearly a disconnect there. Either that or Kenya is utilizing that as her ammunition for why she did what she did. Okay. That sounds to me like what it could be. Well, I did this to her because she said or did something to me wherein I felt threatened, and the network is doing nothing for my protection. Is that a valid legal argument? Okay. Is that a valid legal argument? Well, oh, she came after me first. I felt threatened. So then I had to do this. Was that the case? Was that the case? And then to make things interesting, what I'm wondering is this. Will Kenya be paid for the season? Will Kenya be paid for the season? Chime down in the chat what you guys think. I want to know what you think. Do you think she will be paid for the season? Brand says absolutely not. Danny says, I'm a Kenya fan, but that was bad judgment. Lonnie L, good question. That is my question. And that would also be a reason for Kenya Moore to ponder her legal options as well. She signed a contract. She entered into the season. She began filming. Boom. Mary says, nope. Marsha says Kenya should be paid. Nacho Mama says cancel the show. Not cancel the show. We're going to get to that in a second. Only one Ambo says, I doubt it she voided that contract or they might pay out a settlement. And Mark says maybe half the season. Maylene says no pay. A says she will. She filmed a lot of the season. Charmaine says the viewers should pull together and file a lawsuit against all these reality-based network. If it's not scripted, they should be fine. Someone says, was this Brittany person allegedly involved with Mark? I thought I heard somebody say that somewhere. I don't know anything about that, but I've heard it being mentioned, and I can't remember where. Carter says, yes, she should get paid. Yes, pay her. I am Queen. Tori says, pay her for the season and let her go. Oh, Ace said, do bench warmers get paid? Oh, somebody made a good point and said, Bridget Black says per episode. That could be a reasonable assumption right there. But, her attorney could argue this wasn't her choice. She was doing her job. She felt threatened. She felt this way and the network did nothing. Pay her for this, okay? But I guarantee you, if they enter into that type of situation, it would be hard for me to believe that Kenya would ever show up back on the Real Housewives of Atlanta in the future. Solandra says she should be paid for the episode she completed. I can see that. That to me would make sense if things shook out that way. I could see that happening. How we do it in the 6 says Bravo needs to set clear rules. And for us, we would have to believe that there are not clear rules set up, because just last week we saw Mariah Huck talk about what are the rules. You know what I'm saying? What are the rules? What is it? What does who is setting the rules here, right? Then we had Candy come out and say, well, I mean, she didn't say this verbatim, but she brought up a good question, is where is the line? What's the line? Because things have happened in the past, okay, that weren't taken care of or nobody was punished for those things. Why is it happening now? LRGA Curve says, but the episodes won't air. Pay per episodes that she appears in? That's a good question. What will actually make it to air by the time this thing all comes out? What will really make it to air? I don't know. I don't know. So my next question for you. Oh, so the other thing that I want to bring up was, those court docs that were released the other day, I believe that came out. I did not mention this earlier, but it looks like Kenya Moore was earning about $89,000 per month from Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's a nice little check right there. That's a nice little check right there. So let's add that to the mix too. So now, as a result of this, you're missing out on a large portion of your income. Okay. Not to mention the fact that Mark, as a result of the ruling, was only allegedly making about 5,000 per month. Okay. So he would only have to contribute what, at least I think it was like 2,000 in child support, I think it was, and maybe like another thousand for something towards her college fund. But with the way S corps work, and I don't know what his business is, and I'm not a financial expert, I'm not a financial planner or anything like that, but I do know something about how like you can set up your business. And if you set up your business to the point where you are paid as an employee of your business, you can set your salary at whatever you want it to be. So said salary could be 5,000, but your business could be making 30,000 or so per month. It just kind of depends on what's reasonable, from my understanding. So I don't really know. But what I do know is that now that she is off the show, my question to you guys was, will she be paid? Was because we see this salary right here, and that is a large chunk of the pie financially that is now going to be missing as a result of this suspension. Time Up Love says, let's be real. So y'all think if the roles were reversed, Kenya wouldn't be screaming at the network for that girl to be fired? That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Um, and so the reason why I put Portia and Phaedra on the thumbnail is this. So, Portia captioned this photo, frickin' frack reunion went crazy. The word of the night, icons, presenting the official lineup for Bravo Watch What Happens Live 15th anniversary special this Sunday. And she tags, of course, herself and Phaedra Parks and Andy and their photo together. And this was on, I think, is on also on Andy's page as well. But you can see the icons that are listed here that are going to be in attendance. But it's just interesting to me that they put these two women together, and it just kind of made me wonder if you guys think that adding Phaedra Parks would make the show watchable, because I feel like the way they keep putting Portia and Phaedra together and what we're just kind of seeing, I'm just wondering if would you guys think that this duo would save the show? I just want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this duo would save the show? I only ask because I feel like when we start to look at how the promo of people and who they like and whatnot, clearly the network is continuing their support of Portia. Clearly the network is continuing their support of Phaedra, even though Phaedra is on Married to Medicine. I just wonder if this is something that they would even consider, because they've already put Phaedra on Dubai. They put her on The Traitors. She was on one of those fashion shows. Phaedra has been everywhere. The network clearly, for whatever reason, enjoys her. So, do you guys think that we could possibly see Phaedra doing maybe a bit of a crossover? I mean, I think it's a fair question because, again, this is something that the network has put out there, and like, for real. If you're talking icons, really, you're talking icons. You couldn't use Kenya Moore at this point because she was under investigation. Because otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense to not have her up there as an icon. But when you put Portia and Phaedra together like this, it just makes me raise some eyebrows at what maybe they're trying to tell us. I don't know. I don't know. If they're sending us a sign, I wonder if is this a sign? I don't know. I don't know. But as it stands now, we are left with 6 full-time peach holders. That is Shamia, that is Drew, that is Portia, that is Britt, new cast member, that is Kelly, new cast member, and that is Angela, new cast member, with Cynthia adding as the friend. But my question is going to be, I would have relatively assumed that when they brought Cynthia on as the friend, she would have been Kenya's friend. Now I'm assuming Cynthia is going to be Portia's friend. And they are friends, so I guess that makes sense. But it would have probably made more sense that Cynthia was Kenya's friend. Correct? I don't know. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Just some questions. I wanted to do a little bit of a check-in with you guys, have a little bit of discussion, because I knew that this was really big and it was breaking. And, obviously it broke last night, but I had an event and I really wanted to sit down and have a discussion with you guys, because I wanted to get a chance to know, like, what you guys were feeling, what you were thinking. Someone says, I thought Cynthia quit. Did Cynthia quit? Lord have mercy. Now, I hadn't heard that. Chocolate, yes, for this name, Chocolate Soul. First, thank you for the super chat. Says, if someone at your job did the same to you, how would you want HR to proceed? I mean, there you go. That's a valid question. That's a valid question. That is a very valid question. This is a very, very valid question. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about Cynthia quitting, but I knew that Cynthia was just a friend. Yeah. Vanessa says, ask the whole show. Oh, Lord. They didn't already put the money on it, though. They didn't already put that money on it. Yeah. Not fire Robin. Said, I'd want them fired. Yeah, I mean, that's a very good response to that question. If somebody did that, and if somebody on the job did that, what would I want HR to do? I would want them to fire them. Point blank. Ask for a refund. My future looks bright, says, but a lot of what goes on Housewives wouldn't fly at a regular job. Well, that is also why I went back to the Jerry Springer of it all, right? Because what's okay for, and really it was a discussion about what is okay for television now, right? For ages, fighting has been okay. And a lot of people feel like, well, they've been letting people fight, so what's wrong with this? I think that it's in poor taste at that point. That would just be my suggestion to Kenya. Like, if somebody, if Kenya had went to somebody and said, "Hey, y'all, I'm about to do this," I would have been like, "No, girl, don't do that." Don't do that. You could easily just as easily just call the girl whatever you want to call her, whatever name in the book you want to call her, and then tell her you got the receipts, but you ain't got to show them receipts on the screen on at the public event. Okay, that's something I would be like, no, girl, you're going too far. No, girl, they're not going to show that on TV. No, girl, I would not do that. No, girl, not at your grand opening. No, girl, that might be a little bit too much. No, girl, I wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Um, and even if somebody in production had suggested, I would have been like, no, sir, no, ma'am, I'm not going to do that. If you want to do it, you do it because you got a choice. I have learned for myself on doing reality TV for myself, you may be asked to do something. It may be suggested that you do something. And I'm not saying that that happened in this situation. I'm just telling you what I know. You may be asked to have a conversation. You may be asked to look a certain direction. You may be asked to bring this up. But you, at the end of the day, can always say, no, I'm not doing it. Get somebody else to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. They may label you difficult to work with, but if you're good, they're going to have to deal with it. That's it. Period. Point blank. But anyway, that's just my that's just my thought on the matter. That's just what I would do. Um, to me, I think about, and I understand that Housewives is not always the place for this, but in the real world, we gotta we there's a little bit of what I would consider like emotional intelligence in terms of our responses to things that happen outside of us, right? So somebody can go off on you, they can curse you out or whatnot, but what is your line personally? Like that's really becomes the question. What is your line? That at the end of the day, whatever Bravo's line is one thing because that seems to be very blurry. We have established that the rules of TV in general very, very blurry. So now the question becomes, what is my personal line? What is my personal boundary? What am I personally going to do? What am I personally not going to do? And that's got to be that. I mean, I personally will miss Kenya Moore on the show, but I wish she had taken a different path. That's it. And that's all I need to know. All right. So with that being said, listen, drop your comments in the chatterization down below. Listen, Thailand is happening on Friday. We will open the doors. The first 8 people to reserve their spot get a discount. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be lit. I am gonna go finish my coffee and get my workout on, y'all. So make sure to keep it locked to the channel. Subscribe, join the Sky Squad membership community. We have got a great interview with one of the producers of R&B Divas, breaking down exactly what happened with the show and why you haven't seen it. Okay. So tap into that. The interview with Phil Thornton. He is also on the We Sound Crazy podcast. They've interviewed everybody from, I mean, like all of your hot R&B artists. And Phil has had his hands in the music industry for a very long time. So tune in and tap into that. And that will be out for everybody, I think either later this week or early next week. So with that being said, y'all, thank you so much, Brambella. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I love talking to y'all. Someone asked this question, and it's a very valid question. Sunkiss Forever asked this question before I go. I'll answer this. Richie, has Housewives reality run its course? I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I think Housewives, in the way that we all came to initially enjoy it, is slowly running its course. I do. I believe that. And, you know, personally, I just do. I just honestly do. As much as I would like to say no, I do think that it is running its course in the current format, and I think that they're going to need to figure out a way to pivot in order to keep the viewer interest, because it's no longer about what it used to be about. It was about a close knit group of friends. That was the premise, who lived this exclusive lifestyle behind the gates. And now it is essentially a group of casted women who barely have loose ties to each other, if any at all. And we know what's going on now. And so the jig is up. We can see the puppet master, operating the puppets. And when it gets to that point, it really becomes less enjoyable to watch. We can basically predict what's going to happen. And I just think that they've got to figure out a way to shake things up. And if they can't shake things up, then yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of, like I said, it's going to be a slow death. That's how I feel about it. So, um, yeah, that's just the truth of the matter. All right. So anyway, that's that. If there's any other news that pops off today, I will definitely come back. I want to hear what Andy has to say on his radio show, because he usually has some type of commentary. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that. If anything pops up, I will definitely be back at you guys with another video. But until then, y'all, I want y'all to have a great day. Get some stuff done for yourselves. Tell your loved ones you love them, because life is too short. Be on the lookout for the Thailand trip opening up on Friday. And if you have any questions about it, shoot me an email at bookings@djrichieskye. Otherwise, the link will be in the description down below. And I think you might even be able to start reserving your spot now. But it officially launches on Friday. So with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.